Hey, what is up, YouTube land and vinyl community? It is Kendall Stokes coming at you with another video for the Spin Doctor and his Vinyl Mayhem YouTube channel. Tonight, I thought I would come to you with some soundtracks. I've been in a little bit of a soundtrack mood, and so I thought I would kind of just show you what I've picked up over the last couple weeks. And I don't know why I've gotten into this mood, but I just have. So here we go. Let's just get right into it. Soundtracks, here we come. This is got a little small stack, so it shouldn't be too long of a video. But the first one I actually showed a couple weeks ago on my Taylor Swift video with my little girl, Sarah. If you haven't seen that one, all you Swifties out there, go back and watch it. Yeah, this one is The Bodyguard. It's the #1 selling soundtrack of all time. 25 million copies worldwide. If you're not familiar with this one, obviously Whitney Houston, Kevin Costner. First side on this soundtrack is just Whitney Houston songs. Obviously the big one on this is I Will Always Love You, the Dolly Parton cover, which went on to have huge success. Obviously that song, Dolly had huge success with it multiple times, and then Whitney, huge success with it in the 90s. Matter of fact, I believe that song was #1 in 4 different decades. The only song the only other song to ever do that, I believe, was Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen. But some other good songs on this for I Have Nothing and Run to You. Those were pretty successful as well. The second side, not really, they weren't Whitney songs, they were just some other stuff from the movie. Nothing really of note, to be honest with you. But yeah, this was like I said, this was a big deal. If you don't know the story behind the song, though, they were going to go with something different. Last minute, Kevin Costner heard the song and brought it to the producers, I believe. Clive took the song then to Whitney, who liked it, and it just kind of escalated from there. And yeah, great song. This is the Target exclusive on lavender vinyl right here, looking really nice. Yeah, so but yeah, I picked this one up for my wife, actually. Next one we're going back into the 80s here, a little bit of an 80s selection, and very popular movie from the 80s, and this is a soundtrack I'm sure you guys see all the time. Nothing big here. Karate Kid Part 2. But the reason I picked this one up is because of this little thing right here. This little gold stamp promo. I thought that's kind of cool, so I thought, you know what? I'm going to bring this one back home with me. I didn't have a copy of it. And of course, like I said, we all know the soundtrack. We all know this movie. You know, right now, obviously, Cobra Kai, the sensational show that is on Netflix, this thing that is this phenomenon, what's old is new again, and so this movie has become popular again. The first movie, the third movie, all of them have become popular again, but this soundtrack was very popular. The huge song that came off of it, obviously, The Glory of Love by Peter Cetera from Chicago, which my wife can't stand. Peter Cetera, she can't stand Chicago, which is, so that's kind of funny. I'll make sure to blast that for her tomorrow on Mother's Day, just for her. But there's actually some other good stuff on this. There is a great cover of Rock Around the Clock by Paul Rodgers on here, and of course, when I think of Paul Rodgers, I just think of one of the all-time great rock and roll voices of all time. Free, Bad Company, just a phenomenal voice, and he does a great job with that classic Bill Haley and the Comets song. So great cover. There's also a cover of New Edition doing Earth Angel, so that's a little interesting. But just an all-around good soundtrack. Like I said, the movie brings back memories from when I was a kid, of course. So fun movie, fun soundtrack. Had to pick that one up. And it wasn't expensive either. I think it was under $10. Next one. Now this one right here. This one brings back memories. Rocky 5. Now I've never actually seen a copy of this before, and probably for good reason. This soundtrack, I'll straightforward with you. This is a terrible soundtrack. Terrible. And I think the reason being is because it's a rap hip hop soundtrack. This movie came out in 1990. And so this is, we're talking MC Hammer. I don't even know who Joey B. Ellis is. MC Tab. The 7A3. No idea. Snap. I do know who Snap is. Obviously, I know who MC Hammer is too. Let's see. Rob Bass. So, we're talking some people that I don't even really know. But, most of the Rocky soundtracks were usually mainly instrumental, except for Rocky 4. Obviously, that one was mainly rock. And there were also some maybe R&B songs in, like, the earlier ones, too. This, obviously, is a complete opposite direction. However, there is one song on this that does not fit it at all, and it's an Elton John song, which is the main reason why I actually bought it. And if you've ever seen the movie, first off, the reason I bought this is because it's nostalgia. Growing up, this was my favorite Rocky movie, which is funny because it's also critically the worst Rocky movie. Sylvester Stallone himself does not like this movie. He thinks it's the worst of all the Rocky movies. He did not direct this one. The director of the first Rocky movie directed this one. I know a lot about the Rocky movie, so hold on tight real quick. This was the last Rocky movie to have Talia Shire, who plays Adrian, in it. This also starred his son, who played his son in the movie. So just some other things. So yeah, but for me, like I said, growing up, this was like my favorite Rocky movie. It's probably just because I was at that perfect age for it. I could quote it. Terrible quotes. Tommy Gunn only fights in the ring. Yeah, well, my ring's outside. Stuff like that. I used to quote this movie all the time. I used to watch it all the time. Loved it. But anyway, back to the Elton John song. Like I said, an Elton John song mixed with hip hop and rap makes no sense. Well, at the end of the movie, whenever Rocky and his son, run up the stairs, and the credits start to roll, the credits are rolling over pictures of all five of the, just kind of like a retrospective of all five of the movies. And if you listen to the song, it's kind of like a full circle of Rocky, starting from the very beginning, reaching the peak and then falling down to the bottom, which is what happened in the movie. And it was a song I loved when I was a kid, and the song wasn't even written by Bernie Taupin. And so the only place I ever heard the song was in the movie, and so the only place to get the song is on the soundtrack. So, like I said, I've never even seen this soundtrack before, and so when I saw it, I was like, I gotta get this. And come to find out, it's actually kind of rare and hard to find. I was looking it up online, and there's not a lot of copies for sale online, and the ones I did see online kind of go for a little bit expensive. And believe it or not, it's still in shrink wrap, which I thought was kind of cool. It was a little dirty. I cleaned it up and it played quite nicely, so very excited about that. Add it to the collection. Will I listen to it a lot? Probably not. But like I said, to me, it's all about just having it because it looks cool. It's Rocky 5, and this was, like I said, my favorite Rocky movie. And it's on the Capitol label. So, yeah. Again, really cool. Also, this was the last movie to feature Burgess Meredith, who, of course, Mickey died in Rocky 3, but Burgess Meredith was still in this, in, flashback scenes, Fight this guy hard. One more round. Get up, you son of a bitch, because Mickey loves you. Like I said, I used to quote that movie all the time. Next, this one right here I was really excited to find because it's not one that I see very often. Inside Llewyn Davis. So this one right here, this movie came out in the early 2000s, 2011, 2012 maybe. This is a Coen Brothers movie, and this was done by T-Bone Burnett. Was produced by T-Bone Burnett, and the movie, like I said, it's a Coen Brothers movie. Coen Brothers did "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou." T-Bone Burnett produced "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou." And that's all bluegrass and all that stuff. This is actually folk music, or I say folk music, 60s folk music. So if you don't know the movie, it's based on this guy right here, Llewyn Davis. It's fictitious, but he's a folk singer. I think it was New York, but he's a folk singer who had a partner who died, and he had success with his partner. When his partner died, he kind of down on his luck, and so it's like the week in the life of this folk singer who's still trying to make it as a singer in the city, going from clubs and bars and playing all that stuff. And it's actually Oscar Isaac here that is singing, and there's a lot of great tracks on here, old traditional folk songs, and with great musicians too. Like I said, Oscar's doing all the stuff himself, and then Marcus Mumford from Mumford and Sons is doing one. Justin Timberlake's in this movie, is doing some tracks. Marcus Mumford's wife is one of the actresses, and she's singing on here. I can't think of her name. Adam Diver or Driver, I can't remember how to pronounce his name. Is on here as well. The Punch Brothers do a track on here, but some traditional songs are on here that you might know. Green Green Rocky Road, 500 Miles, which I know Peter, Paul, and Mary ended up doing. But it's just a great folk album, and I really like the cover. It's got that old 60s vibe to it. It's a really good movie too if you haven't ever seen it. And this isn't one that you see very often. This came out, like I said, 2011 or 12, I think. I could be a little off on that. But just some good folk music, acoustic folk music, of course. Bob Dylan type stuff. Just really good. I would say if you haven't seen the movie, check it out. If you like the Coen Brothers, you'll like this movie because the Coen Brothers kind of do some interesting storytelling, and that's the way this movie is. And like I said, just some good music. So, and then lastly, what I'm going to show you is this right here. It's all about the mayhem. Oh yeah. So you're like, why does he have two? So this right here is technically the soundtrack to Muppets Mayhem, which is on Disney Plus. It's a mini series on Disney Plus. I am a huge Muppets fan. I've mentioned that before, but I'm a huge Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem fan. And I said before, my channel is named after Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem, not the Spin Doctors. If you look at my symbol, it looks somewhat like the Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem symbol. Look that up online. I pointed. Sorry, Richard. I know you don't like to point. I know you don't like the pointing. But anyway, look at the Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem symbol on Animals Drums. My wife made my symbol to look somewhat like that. But anyway, Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem have never technically made an album before. And that's technically what this is. And the series on Disney Plus called Muppets Mayhem is about them making their first album after 45 years. And the series just came out 2 days ago, May 10th, or I guess 3 days ago. And there's 10 episodes. Go check it out. Me and my wife have been loving it. Hilarious, tons of fun. And this is their album. This is the Electric Mayhem. This is the soundtrack, but it's all songs done by the Mayhem, the Dr. Teeth, and it's just a really cool looking album. It's very psychedelic looking. Try not to get all that glare on there. Just very cool looking album. And you're thinking, well, why does he have two? Well, the reason I have two is because one, my wife wanted to, because she wanted one to listen to and one to frame. But then also because I found out that there's the original one that came out, which looks like this. Here's the inner sleeve, and I just barely opened this. It's on this splatter, translucent, purple blue vinyl, which is like, okay, cool, all right, got a cool looking, kind of a cool looking vinyl. But then I found out and told my wife. I said, hey, there's another one that Target did. Target has their own vinyl, and it's really and it's called psychedelic green vinyl. And so she's like, well, we need to get that too then. And this is what it looks like. And this is my wife's favorite shade of green. So that's how that one looks. So we now have both versions of it. Very cool looking. So yeah, that is the collector in me. Gotta have both versions of the record. Like I said, normally I don't do that, but for this, because of what it is, because I'm such a huge fan of the Muppets and Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem, I had to do it, so I did. But this is just a really cool album. There's some original songs, which, by the way, Linda Perry of the Four Non Blondes, was the music executive producer, so she wrote the original tracks. But there's actually some good covers on here too. There's Have a Little Faith in Me, Joined Together by The Who. Obviously there's Can You Picture That, a classic Muppet song. God Only Knows by the Beach Boys. Bridge Over Troubled Water by Simon and Garfunkel. Rock and Roll All Night by Kiss. So just a fun record, and like I said, just how cool looking is that cover. So if you are a Muppets fan, if you are a Dr. Teeth and Electric Mayhem fan, this is a must. I got this at Target. The other one you can get at your local record store, hopefully. If not, sorry. But anyway, those are my soundtracks. Soundtracks are fun. If you are a fan of movies and the music that you hear in those movies, soundtracks are fun. Whether they're originals, whether they're, stuff like Guardians of the Galaxy, where they just put awesome songs into the movies, or if it's like Footloose, or if it's a song, or if it's something like this, where there's a song written specifically for the movie, Glory of Love, or Footloose, or Dirty Dancing songs for movies. That's great too. But soundtracks are fun, so I'm probably gonna start getting and collecting more soundtracks. We'll see. But anyway, hope you guys liked the video, and until next time, I will see you guys later. Peace. Love you guys. Bye bye.